Okay, so I'm gonna let a video of a fast lap play, and then we'll talk through a few of the points. Right, so that's a lap. Now, full disclosure, this lap was done when the server was in quite good conditions, so there's definitely time to be gained. So let's talk through the corners here and what we've got. Turn 1. So turn 1, you're looking to brake just after this, the end of the concrete. Around about here. Obviously brake super hard. Turn 1 always feels like there is more time to be gained, but actually there isn't that much. Turn 2 is actually much more important. So turning in just before the start of this grey concrete. Also to note, there's a few different angles you can take this corner. I take a much more traditional line. You do not validate by running out wide, and that is completely legal at Road America. It's completely legal here, and it's a known thing, so don't worry about it too much. The advantage of keeping it tight is that you obviously first of all you shorten the track, which is great. Second of all, you can then change into 4th gear a little bit earlier and get the traction pulling you out. Obviously, if you run wider, you can carry more speed. But as you see here, these curbs and bringing the car back in line and cutting over here really destabilizes the car, and it loses you time. So it's a bit of a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, but I have found this method to be quicker. Okay, so turn 2, super important. Turn 2, you want to brake a little bit earlier. You can see I'm already on the brakes, down to 3rd gear, and get the car to rotate in and get as straight an angle coming out of turn 2 as you possibly can. Basically, what I'm trying to do here is make the most of the super long straight all the way down here, and get as good of an exit as I can. You also don't want to dip a wheel into this grass if you can help it, like I do. It does lose you about half a tenth by doing so. That little bump there just costs you all the way down here. Right, so all the way down we go. And here you can brake in different points. You can see I'm braking here, and it's a little bit late if I'm honest. So this corner, you can either brake really late, gain a bunch of time on the entry to the corner, still make the turn in, but then this little run up the hill, you then lose out heavily. But it's a short run. So I found getting a better exit is quicker, but it is once again quite a debate. So this time you can see I actually locked up here. I'm really attacking the corner, and I don't like this. I don't like this line because it means you don't get as good of an exit up here. You can see how the car just sounds like it's bogged down, and that's not great. So really, I want to be coming out of that corner much better. This Corvette corner, or whatever it is, Corvette bridge, you're braking, where's that, just before the bridge. It's a bit of a feely corner, this one. There's no real brake marker, but again, I like to brake a little bit earlier than I feel I have to, because you're coming over this rise. If you brake late, you do tend to lock up, which obviously then it compromises your turn in, number one, and number two, by braking a little bit earlier, I can brake a little bit more gently. See, I'm not using full brakes. Come off the brakes quite early, turn the car in, and then get the power back on and come out of this corner much nicer. Just something that I found. This corner here, this right-hander, using all of the concrete on the left hand side, turning in a little bit earlier than you'd have thought, because the car does tend to understeer. But then when you come off the throttle, I'm using off throttle to destabilize the car, get a little bit of oversteer going. Obviously it's not like I'm counter steering, you can see the steering stays the same, but it just helps that back end rotate a little bit, and you come through this corner as fast as you possibly can. You want to run onto these curbs, but watch out. For some reason, the camber and the car and everything, it just wants to push you into this grass. So you really got to be careful, and I actually don't get it right here. You can see I'm just slightly in the grass, bouncing along there, and that would have lost me half a tenth. Down to hurry downs, so again, I think I get this not great. Yeah, I don't get this great. So I'm actually a bit too narrow here. You can brake a little bit later than you think you should, but you want to get a bit of a wider angle, turn in and on the power earlier, and avoiding those bumps. This long carousel bend. So what you want to do is you want to hug the inside as much as you possibly can. And then you got to feel it. You got to feel it out. You can see me coming off the throttle here. That helps the car turn, get you more turn. So the problem here, of course, is if you are too aggressive with this, the tail will just kick out and you'll lose a hell of a lot of time. If you're not aggressive enough, the car won't turn in enough and you'll end up just sort of understeering off the track. So you've got to, and you can see I've drifted out a little bit wider here from where I started. That is intentional, so I can then cut back in later on during the corner. There, you can see I'm back sort of full throttle, back off, back on, trying to line the car's exit up perfectly to then come out as gently as possible with the most amount of speed, the maximum amount of speed. So a very tricky little corner, this long corner, and this obviously is where softs actually help you the one time you go through on softs, and then are completely cooked afterwards. So you can carry much more speed on softs through here. You see the out, then the cut back in, and off we go. Then next corner, turning in just before the 100 marker, you can see I'm almost full throttle. Once again, you don't touch the brakes, but you do feather the throttle to get you extra turn in through here. You want to basically be almost flat through this corner and carry as much speed as you possibly can. You can see going in at 220, I should really be changing into 6th gear because we're obviously going to lose a bit of speed. I'm going to then stick in 5th, and so you can see just modulating that throttle just gets me a little bit of extra turn in, and then I'm modulating all the way through and then back on the throttle coming out, and you want to run it obviously to the curb but not too far over, into 6th gear all the way down. So this corner, sort of third last corner actually, there's a couple of ways you can do this. I brake quite early for this corner. You can brake a lot later, but I prefer the earlier, narrower line and getting on the power early. But I have managed to come So what you can do is, like turn 1, you can run very wide on the exit here, and it's completely happy with it. And again, for Road America, it's completely fine. It's I know it looks like a track cut, but it's actually fine. You can run all the way out on this curbing, and it's absolutely fine. So you can obviously use that to carry a lot more speed, but once again, like turn 1, it's very bumpy. So getting back on the power, you really lose out on the exit, even though you've carried more speed through the corner. So that's why I like to use a much earlier braking point, a narrower turn in, and you can see how early I am on the throttle, because you've got a wide exit. I'm on the throttle super early, and then full throttle all the way out, and I'm avoiding all the bumps and stuff on the outside, which I find destabilizes the car. Okay, so second last corner. Run it obviously all the way onto the curbing, but then you want to pick your point correctly here. It's quite a tricky one. You got to get used to it, but you got to pick your point correctly to turn in, and you want to be aiming at the curb up here, but just not quite clip it. If you clip the curbs, a lot of the time at Road America, if you clip the curbs, it's just going to throw the car off, and that's going to really be detrimental to you. So just riding, you can see that little destabilization here, there, that little bump is about all you want. Any more than that, and you're really going to be causing yourself problems. But by taking this line, I can just modulate off throttle a little bit. On softs, you can actually go flat through here. You don't need to do this, but just a little bit of throttle modulation up and over the hill. I could have actually done that quicker, less throttle modulation. And then the last corner, this is where we always lose our time. It's so easy to lose your time on the last corner. You always feel like you have to brake a lot earlier than you should. So you can see I brake there. So I've started to brake here around the end of these Vehicles for Life signboard, and obviously braking super hard, but when you're actually driving it, it feels like you're braking super early. But what you want to do is line yourself up for that long straight that's coming up. So even there, you could hear the squealing. I slightly outbraked myself, but it was okay. I was able to manage it, and that's it, across the line. So let's just see what I do in the next lap. So even tighter here a little bit, and then on the exit. So there's like different ways of tackling this track, and it's just about finding a couple of different methods. You can see there, clipping the exit, not great. A couple of different methods that will, get you a result. And I think on this lap, I just wanted to play this because I think on this lap I brake really early, but I end up doing a very quick lap time here. You see how early I braked there, and I've actually outbraked myself there. I should have in the wrong way, but up the hill I gained so much that actually it didn't matter too much. So yeah, they're just different ways of doing it, but that's I think that's a good starting point.